Hi everyone! Welcome to the October Neopets Live. These are getting real difficult to host because every time I realize it's a new live, it means it's a new month. And I can't believe that like it was February and now it's October. Like 11, 12 more Fridays until Christmas. So that's great. But for those of you that don't know me, I am TNT Luna. I take the pronouns she, her. And if you've ever seen a video on the Neopets Instagram that's like Neopets nostalgia, where the top comment is real ones remember 1999 Neopets. I am the member on the social media team that was not alive for 1999 Neopets. I personally use a lot of the 2007 artwork because that's what I remember. But if you've been tuning into our social media and you've seen some of my work, my team's work, that's great. So thank you so much. But I'm super excited to get into this live for October, mostly because last time, you might remember in the beginning, I briefly sort of mentioned the upcoming graphic novel, the Neopets upcoming graphic novel called The Omelette Faerie, and showed a little bit of the art. But this time around, we get to hear about it straight from the author, Becca Mix, and also the editor and omelet queen, Erin Pascal. Who I have never actually said your last name in real life. So, Erin, if you're watching this and it's not pronounced Pascal, I'm so sorry. But I would love to welcome them to the stage, and we're just going to ask them some questions. Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
my gosh, this is so exciting. Also, Aaron, is it Aaron Pascal or is it like different?
Yep, you are correct. You did a lot better than the person at my college graduation, so thank you.
Oh, perfect, perfect, perfect. And Becca Mix. Like, there's no way I'm butchering that. Okay,
that one's easy.
Awesome. Well, I'm just gonna, ask each of you the same question to get started. Maybe Becca, you can answer first, and then we can go to Aaron. But there will be viewers who might not be familiar with your work. So, can you tell us a bit about yourself, and also a little bit about your journey with Neopets in general?
Yeah, so hi everyone. I'm Rebecca Mix. I'm the New York Times bestselling author of fantasy books like The Ones We Burn, The Moss Heart's Promise duology, and the upcoming magical Knives Out fantasy murder mystery, I Killed the King. But more importantly, I am the author of The Omelette Faerie, which has I'm so excited to be here. I texted my parents before this and I was like, I'm gonna be on Neopets Instagram Live. And my dad was like, what's Instagram? And I was like, never mind. So I grew up on Neopets. Like Luna, when you said that you weren't alive in 1999, I was like, dust. I'm dust. I realized today that I've played Neopets for over 20 years. But Neopets was actually how I became a writer. So if any of you watching were in the role-playing boards, like the 2000s doing warrior cats or wolf role plays, you might have been kicking me out of your role plays because I was really bad.
No, I love that.
Yeah, huge Neopets kid. So this is total bucket list moment. I'm so excited to be here.
The role play boards is actually crazy. When you said warrior cats, I was like, you definitely met me in TNT Fae at some point. But I love that you became like a published author, and I just continue to read warrior cats to this day. It was like the last book that I read, which is a little bit concerning. But I don't know, Aaron, what about you? Were you in the clans with us, or what's your vibe? How did you get into Neopets? What do you do now?
Sure. So I should say that unfortunately I was not a Wildcats roleplay girly. However, I did do the Harry Potter Marauders like chat roleplay. I would always sign in as Petunia, just like spying on her friends, and I think that's my role as a little sister in general. So actually, my older sister is the reason I found Neopets at all. I used to play with her because I wasn't allowed to play on her account. Again, that's when you're a younger sister. I think she must have made her account somewhere around 2000. It's been purged, but I finally begged my mother to let me make an account in 2001. I have been an active Neopets player ever since, role playing, pound surfing, doing lots of plots, lots of exciting things. And in my professional career, I am the senior editor for children's books and licensing at Andrews McMeel. So I do a lot of books out there. I previously worked at Scholastic and at Disney. I love comics, love cookbooks, love everything illustrated, and very excited to be here.
Oh, so excited to have you. Yeah, I guys, when I first met Aaron, I was like, I'm already your biggest fan. But then Aaron, like in passing, was like, yeah, like I work with comics, blah blah blah, Garfield, and I was like, please. But still very good. Like Neopets and Garfield, the two foundations of my DNA. Also, I don't know what this tooth filter is, but I'm just gonna ignore it. But okay, awesome. I love that we were all on adjacent topics on the role-playing boards when we were younger. I know TNT Faerie was on the My Little Pony roleplay. That's really great. We weren't scamming each other on Pound Chat. We were pretending to be cats. But Becca, before I get into it, I heard that you give omelet horoscopes, and I am personally going to abuse this time I have on the live to get my omelet horoscope. I know that we have other important questions to get to, but I just know it's your specialty, and I'd love to know what my omelet horoscope is.
I mean,
what omelet I
am. Right? Yeah, so I did pull up all of the omelets before this because I was like, okay, I need to be prepped. I need to be ready. But I will say I'm getting very like Apple and Brie vibes. So I'll let you, take whatever you want from that. And for anyone watching, if you're like, I need an omelet horoscope, I did maybe foolishly volunteer to write them in the copies from my local indie. So if you get it from my local indie, I'll tell you what kind of omelet you are, and hopefully it's the right one.
No, I know. Someone will like buy on my local indie and like get a signed copy from you and like really feel gung ho about supporting you. And you're gonna be like, you're giving like 1/3 cheese omelet. And then be like, how dare you?
Yeah, they're gonna be like, I hate jelly omelets. Be like, sorry, man, it's in the stars.
It's in the stars. And you know, Erin, I know that you are the omelet queen. But if you could create any new omelet flavor on Neopets, what would it be and why?
Okay. So I'm a vegan, so I would definitely want a vegan omelet. You could do like a play on just egg with just omelet. But I've also been seeing people on the boards really request a crab rangoon item. So I would also say a crab rangoon omelet because I think that could also be fun.
I would love. Wait, that just gave me visceral college throwbacks. I used to eat so many crab rangoons that the next morning I felt like I was like sweating cream cheese. But moving on into the real questions that people want to hear. Erin, we've had you on before, not specifically for the Omelette Fairy. So, what other work have you done with Neopets?
This is actually my first Neopets live. I'm very excited because previously I had been on Nosy Neopians. So thank you for showing me behind the scenes. This is very exciting. So yeah, I've been working on the Neopets publishing over 3 years now, which is super exciting. So we published Neopets, the official cookbook last year, which you can pick up anywhere books are sold or online for the ebook. And we have the graphic novel that's coming out in, oh my gosh, I didn't do the math. It's the 22nd. It's 2 weeks-ish from now.
Oh my gosh, wow. Awesome. Yeah. Well, I loved all the work that we do with Andrews McNeil, like the tarot deck, and I'm super looking forward to things in the future, which we'll get into at the end. But now to just get into the actual Omelette Fairy. Becca, there were some people who were looking at the live screen and they didn't even know who the Omelette Fairy was or like who that fairy was. So, for people who haven't seen anything at all about the Omelette Fairy, and without giving any spoilers, could you tell us just like the premise of the comic book, maybe the graphic novel?
For sure. So the Omelette Fairy takes some Neopians that you guys are pretty familiar with. We get to start with come on, book. Okay. Well, he's hiding. Saber X is right here on the cover, but you can't tell. We start with Saber X, doing his duty. I know it's like stealing it. In Tyrania. And he wakes up one day and the giant omelet is all messed up and people are getting real sick. And a disgraced fire fairy shows up and is like, hey, man, I can help you figure this out. And he's like, hey, man, you seem really not trustworthy. But okay, what other option do I have? And they go on a journey to try and figure out how to restore the giant omelet because, as we know, like Neopia, they need that. Like Soup Fairy can't do it all by herself.
Soup Fairy cannot do it all by. That was one of my favorite parts of reading the book, was just like actually addressing things that we question it in real life. Like when the omelet went missing and people were like, we're overloading the Soup Fairy. I was like, I never even thought of that. That's crazy. But you mentioned that there were characters that we're familiar with, like Saber X. Are there other characters that Neopets lore enthusiasts will recognize, or are there maybe some brand new characters that you've written that will get to stand now? Are there new relationship dynamics? Like, what's the vibe?
Yeah. So I think there is a lot in there for people who have loved this world for a long time, while also inviting new people in. Without giving too much away, I will say there is another fairy, like an established Neopets fairy that people love, who is an important part of the book. And then as far as the Omelette Fairy goes, it is a sapphic story. I do give her a girlfriend. So that has been so much fun. I'm hopeful that people will be excited about that. But yeah, I think there's a lot in there for people who have loved Neopets for a long time, like inside jokes where they'll be like, I know what that is.
Erin, yeah, any particular thing to add there, or do you feel like that kind of covered that question?
Well, I feel like Becca definitely covered that and also just confirmed gay fairies. So that's super exciting. There's also a lot of other great characters here. I mean, we get to see Kairugi, which is pretty exciting. I feel like that's a character in Tyrania that I've always wanted to see a lot more of. And then there's also like a lot of background characters who are unnamed, but just really like nice to look at. Like the artists did such a great job. Their names are Heather Burns and Luis Fernando de Silva. And there's actually one, we were talking about this earlier. There's two particular characters. There's like this fairy Scorchio and her baby Scorchio, and just like the like sadness because she can't get to the omelet. Like it really tugs at your heartstrings, and I think that that's going to be exciting.
No, it really does. I recently watched The Wild Robot in theaters. If you haven't seen it, go see it. It was so good. But the baby Scorchio, mother Scorchio dynamic, like kind of like literally the same level of emotion as The Wild Robot, which is crazy because I cried that entire moment. Like just like, yeah, the Neo parents just trying to feed their pets. And I'm like, I've never thought of that before. Absolutely love that. And, how long has this project been underway? Have you guys been working on it for like a bit, like letting the omelet cook?
So I guess I'll start here. I've been working on this project for 3 years. It actually was in the exact same contract as the official cookbook. It's just the amount of time that original story and art takes to create. That is why it is a year later. But I think it was, and Beck, I'm going to pass this over to you now. I think it was like 2021 when I reached out to you.
Yeah, and I know it was early 2021, and the only reason I remember that is because I'm in Michigan and it was real snowy. So I just remember it being dark and cold and snowy. And like when Aaron reached out, I was like, ah! And my fiance was like, what? Who's dead? I'm like, no, better than that. Someone wants me to work for Neopets. But yeah, this has been cooking for a really long time, no pun intended. So I am so excited that readers will finally get to like hold it. It's real.
Oh, super exciting. And Aaron, you said earlier that at Andrews McMeel you work on a lot of like children's graphic novels, but I wanted to ask, like, is this Omelette Faerie a book for young adults, or what's the age range for the graphic novel?
That is such a great question. So
you wrote it.
Such a great question. I wrote it. You didn't have to give that part away, TNT Luna.
No, that was just so funny. Like, Aaron's just like, oh, also, like, ask me about this. And I was like, that's a really good question.
I didn't know when it was going to happen. You did that so flawlessly. I thought it, like you wrote it in. I don't know.
No. Anyways, yeah, who's this book for?
So to answer that, I have had a couple people ask me. So I was like, oh, this is like a really good thing to talk about on live. And again, you did it so great. But so while this story is totally appropriate for kids, like I would feel confident giving this to my 2.5-year-old nephew, reading it out loud to him, of course, because he can't read by himself. It's really the age range of the website. So the reason why we're putting it as 13 plus when we know most Neopians are millennials or I guess born after 1999. While we know most Neopians are adults, we do also want to make sure that a librarian can recommend this to kids. So it, again, takes the same tone and the same age range as the actual site. We're calling it YA for readers 13 plus. I read it. Obviously, I really like it. My sales director, who knows nothing about Neopets, who is older than me, actually called me after she read it and said, this is really good. Like, I really like this. And I was like, yeah. So it absolutely is for adults as well.
Yeah, I had a
totally. Yeah. Oh, no. Go ahead, Becca. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say my agent, when you reached out, Aaron, he was like, what is a Neopet? And then after he read it, he was like, I still don't understand, but I like it. And I was like, that's all I need from you. So I think it's like a broad, like whether you love it or whether you're like, I don't, what, huh? Like it's a good time.
Yeah, I'm about to like just like recommend this to people unrelated to Neopets and like slowly bring them in. Great gateway. But I loved reading it, and I'm not I love YA books. Have not read past like Divergent. Never have not touched anything past the dystopian YA novels until the Omelette Faerie, and I loved it. And I know you shared before that each Neopet species is featured at least once. There's like an adorable baby Jub Jub in there, my personal favorite, a baby Retalk. But, during the whole process of creating the Omelette Fairy, were there any moments or anecdotes that stand out to you? Maybe other tidbits you can share, like the bit about all the Neopets being included. I would love to hear more, honestly. I just want all the tea.
Yeah, I mean, like truly the whole process stands out because the whole process of working on these books was me going, oh my God, I can't believe I get to do this. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Like I used to get grounded from Neopets because I spent too much time on the computer. I'm like, so there, Mom. That said, there is a very dramatic scene where someone is like dangling off of a cliff, Lion King style, that like fully when I was drafting it, I was like, they're not going to let me keep this. There's no way. This is going to be so hard to draw. They'll make me cut it. And then they didn't. So the artists, I'm so sorry. They did such a good job though. But that was one of those moments where I was like, oh, sweet. Sorry, guys. A+ though.
The artist is like drawing in 5-point perspective, like who's Becca Mix and why did she write this in?
I felt because I was just vibing. I was like, yeah, and then I don't know, they're dangling from a cliff because why not? I'll change it to something later. And then they were like, yeah, cliff scene. I'm like, oh no, but it looks great.
Yeah, totally. Erin, what about you? Any other tidbits you might be able to share?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I love that scene in particular. It's this whole page spread. And I think it actually also came about because in one of my first calls with Becca, we were kind of looking into some of the lore of the giant omelet. And we saw that like way back when, like the only day you could create Tonu, the only time you could create Tonus was like when the giant omelet was out. So we were like, what's that? Like, do they have like a conspiracy where like they're like trying to come at? So that's a little Easter egg for anybody who knows that. Like that's kind of why there's the herd of Tonu, why that happens.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Oh no,
yeah.
Continue.
No, please tell me how cool it is. I want to know more.
Oh, I was just gonna say I had no idea that was like a bit of lore. And when a herd of Tonus ran by, I was like, I never thought about Neopets herd dynamics. Like there were so many things that I was like, I did not know that my Neopet like existed outside of like being an NC Mall baddie. Like they have herds and families, crazy.
Well, yeah. And, we were so fortunate to be working with TNT. I mean, TNT Aesop was incredible. He read every draft, every route of things. He gave so much feedback to us. And same with TNT Clammy Hand, TNT Fae. Like, the team has just been so supportive, sending wraparounds of Saber X multiple times over, which was really great. And I will also say one other interesting tidbit was from the get-go, we had originally pitched the plot definitely went in a different place, like once we were working this out with TNT, but it was originally 2 different fairies that were going to be the main characters. And when TNT Aesop read it, he said, so I can't let you do that because it's happening on the website and you can't do that here. So talk about something else. And, then the plot totally changed because we wanted to make sure that it fit in that direction, but that was very cool.
Yeah, Aesop is like, actually, if you could not do exactly what I'm doing, that'd be great. I love Aesop. Awesome. Well, people might now be, Googling the Omelette Fairy, running over to the pre-ordered listing page. And if they go to the listing page, the description says that the Omelette Fairy is the first installation in a series of graphic novels. And literally, what does that mean? Like, is there going to be an Omelette Fairy 2, or is there going to be a series of Neopets graphic novels? What can we expect from, like, Neopets X Andrews McNeil?
Okay, yeah. So there is a second graphic novel, and I am so excited. So when Erin and I were brainstorming ideas for the series and talking to the TNT, we talked about how fun it would be to lean into the idea of like the different dailies and to give them all like not them all, but to give another one its own like background in life. So the second graphic novel actually follows I'm going to get his name right, the discarded magical blue Grundo plushie of Prosperity, our favorite little guy that we go visit every day. When one day he wakes up and everyone in Neopia has been turned into a toy, and suddenly he can talk and walk and move, and he has to go on a journey with 2 other transformed Neopets to figure out what the heck is going on. And I don't know what was happening when I wrote that book, because Erin said it made her cry. But it, like, I love it so much, and I can't wait to share more.
Yeah,
I can't wait to read it. Yeah. It sounds like it's gonna make me cry. The minute you were like, and everything is turned into a toy, I was like, oh, I'm not ready. Very cool. I can't wait to read it. But, you know, back to the Omelette Faerie, I know that readers might, you know, be really enticed now after this live and wondering when will it be available. So, you know, Erin, when is it coming out? Where can we get it? How do we get our hands on this?
Absolutely. So we're actually doing a very extra special early release at Retro Game Con this coming weekend. So if you're going to be at Retro Game Con, which if you are in the Syracuse, New York area, I highly recommend you do, definitely stop by Neopets, grab an early copy there. You'll also get a sticker and a bookmark. I know TNT Dragon's putting a lot of work into the sticker. It looks really nice. But in case you're not able to get to Retro Game Con, because I won't be there, unfortunately, a lot of people won't be able to be there, you can get it wherever books are sold on October 22nd. It is the exact same book, so don't go on eBay buying it for $100 after Retro Game Con. And it's also available internationally, so for international Neopets fans, please note that. If you're not finding it, or if like shipping is really high for you, I highly recommend you go to your local bookstore and ask for it specifically, because oftentimes you can get it shipped to your bookstore and then just pick it up there so you don't pay shipping. So pro tip, highly recommend that.
And Becca, what's this about the local indie? I just want to make sure, like, people, if they want the signed copy, is that separate or?
Yeah, if you would like a signed copy, and you know, if you want to support a fantastic independent bookstore, Sidetrack Bookshop in Royal Oak, Michigan, you can get a signed copy from me, and I will write your Omelette horoscope in there. Otherwise, you can grab it wherever books are sold, but preferably an indie, because we love the indie bookstores.
Awesome. Also, this reminds me that we're actually doing a giveaway on our Instagram for a signed copy. If you go, it's like a pinned post of a new t-shirt design that's coming out. People can also enter to win one there. But that is all for our segment today. Literally, thank you so much. I will be messaging you about Warrior Cats later, and asking Erin about all the Garfield and Neopets lore. But thank you so much, you guys. Hope to see you back soon for the discarded plushie release next year.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Bye, guys. Bye. Oh my gosh, so exciting. Also, a little bit pressed for time now. I definitely wasted a bit of time there asking for my Omelette horoscope, but no regrets. Sorry to TNT stage manager behind the scenes. But now, you know, transitioning into something completely new to sort of talk about Halloween pet styles and pet styles in general, I would love to welcome the person that has been spearheading it all, TNT Faye.
Hello.
Oh my gosh.
First of all, I'm gonna say I'm so sorry. I'm sick. But hello there. I am TNT Faye. For those of you who have not seen my face here before and are definitely not seeing it today because I am deathly ill. So you get to see this little pink Faerie I drew instead. But yeah. I've been an artist and an art producer for Neopets for almost 3 years now. And like everybody else here, except for Luna, because unfortunately I was born before 99. The dust on me is also
I didn't realize that would be so controversial.
Jeez, man. Thank you. I needed that. But yeah, I've been a long time player for well over 20 years, and I've been working for Neopets for a little bit over 3 years now. And yes, I am absolutely the reason there are way more Faerie items on the website now. I stay whispering in people's ears, so.
I just yell. I whispering. I just yell.
That's true.
First off, thank you so much for coming. I'm so sorry that you're sick. Like literally, thank you for sticking out. I will try to, you know, push along through this section, get you home soon. But I actually think it works out better for us that you have a Faerie as your profile picture, because a lot of people confuse you and TNT Faerie. But just to put it to rest once and for all, TNT Fae's name is inspired by the Faerie pet, and TNT Faerie, who's coming along later, has nothing to do with the Faerie itself.
We are not helping the allegations because we are going to be on 2 separate segments. We are not in the same place at the same time, but I assure you we are 2 different people. Love the Faerie and yeah.
That's such a funny conspiracy. It's just you in an Australian accent.
God, I wish.
Well, so you said that you have been, working for Neopets for 3 years now, and I feel like as an artist, you probably contribute, like, visually, that things that people can see. You probably contribute what players see the most, just because art is the first thing that we kind of see. So, what are some of your favorite things that you've worked on at Neopets?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot. I do a lot of like feedback, so I have a lot of hands-on things. But finally getting to put out the styling studio was obviously a huge accomplishment, and a dream, because as a user, I have been waiting for that before I even worked at Neopets. So getting to kind of get to spearhead the actual release of that was fun. But as far as some star favorites, I worked on the Talpadat Pet, the Python, the Valentine's paintbrush, was another big favorite that I worked on that I really loved. And recent, very popular little critter, Junie, the Void Faerie in the current plot. I completely designed him and am doing a lot of the artwork for him. So he's probably my pride and joy at the moment.
I love that. Like, I can't believe that every new Faerie item we've had on the site, down to a character, is literally from you, and I thank you because they're so cute. I'm glad it wasn't I don't know, like what's a really ugly pet? I would have been devastated if it was like I can't think of anything because I only have Slorgs. But I'm really glad it was Faerie's. And, I did not know that you created the Valentine's pet paintbrush. The minute it came out, I bought 10, and most of my pets are actually Valentine's pets. So thank you for that.
Actually, literally, my heart.
So no, so good, because
emojis right now.
No, the attention to detail on the Valentine pets is so insane, as it is on all pets. But I know when the cougar came out and the heart was a Valentine, I was like, this is incredible. I'll take 15. But you mentioned a bunch of things, including the NC Pet Style releases. And I know that there's been some buzz about the recent recolors from the styling studios. We just launched prismatics. Can you share your thoughts on your approach to creating new content for the community when it comes to, that?
For sure. I'm not scared at all to talk about prismatics. But yeah, I am the one mostly in charge of putting together the releases, so I am the one that the complaints I see the criticism. So for the styling studio, the prismatics was a long time update we wanted to do. It did get a little pushed, maybe a little gooped up. So it maybe didn't release in the idealist way that we wanted to. But we have seen a lot of the feedback, very constructive, and gave me much to think about. So yeah, I'll just say we've heard the community feedback, and we'll continue to try to dedicate more resources to these in the future. Didn't really think people would hate the all monotone pink ones. I thought they'd be kind of cute, but I understand not everybody has an autistic pink Faerie brain. So I will now keep that in mind. So we see you guys' feedback.
I personally loved the monotone pink. When you made them, I was like, oh, this is for me. The pastel pink, thank you. This is for me. But I can't speak for anybody else.
To match the pink Kadoti avatar. I'm like, I just want this to actually match in color tone. But I understand not everybody is that specific about matching their colors.
If I had been physically able to feed more than two coyotes, I would also be worried about that, but couldn't be me. I personally loved the monotone pink, but I'm also really excited to see like what's going to come out in the future, and super cool to hear that you like have been reading the feedback. So thank you so
Yeah.
much.
We've seen a lot of amazing fan made ones, and I don't want to say will like take them verbatim or anything like that, but they have showed what you guys would have preferred instead. So we will keep that in mind.
Yeah. Well, speaking about like what players like the most, from what you've seen sort of on the back end, what have the most popular pet styles been?
It's probably not a surprise to anybody that some of the unreleased ones were some of the more popular ones, like the UC Fairy Hissy, the Fairy Eerie came late but cute, and the like things like the UC Grey Drake were some just generic across the board, very popular ones. Most recently, surprising me, when the most recent Fairy release, people actually seem to really like the Fairy Skeeth and the Mincy. So those are just some surprising fan favorites. That I saw so many users saying that like they started liking Skeeths because they like the nostalgic Fairy Skeeths. So that's crazy.
That was me on my 17 alt accounts. Like, I never thought that I would look at a Skeeth with anything other that was just sheer disgust, disappointment, hatred.
Same.
But I'm very positively like tolerating the new Fairy Skeeth. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely
Tolerating
crazy.
is
Love
crazy. You
that.
should be adoring him. We are so proud of our in-house team. They are
No,
converting people to love unpopular species.
crazy. No, literally, like I'm so grateful to the team. I had no idea that it would be possible to not be disgusted by Skeeth, and he's actually really cute. But speaking of what you guys are working on right now, I know that Halloween is coming up. What can you share with the viewers what you might be planning for Halloween? Are there any special releases?
We're definitely cooking. I will say that. It's gonna be something spooky and fun for Halloween. Sure a lot of you guys are aware that the Halloween pets have a sort of like standard pose for the UC poses. But they should be spookier. They should be a little bit more mischievous. So we are mischievously cooking the Halloween pets. We actually have a very exciting new, or I guess I would say old Neopets artist working with us for this release. She goes by TNT Now, and you may recognize her art from both the old and new version of the unreleased Faerie Eerie, the Grey Drake, and several other of the old pet art. She used to be an old Neopets artist back before Jumpstart. So I hope that excites you guys as much as it excites me. And coming up, we will show some of the pets she has been working on so far.
Oh my gosh, so exciting. Yeah, I'm waiting for the slide to come up with the new Halloween pets because I'd love to see some of them. Oh, yes. Yeah, wait, this is my first genuine reaction. This is my first time seeing it.
Genuine reaction
No,
online.
genuine. Wait, eyebrows on fleek. Wait, this is so good.
Yeah, so we're trying to this is kind of a preview of what we're trying to do for the entire rest of the year for this for these pets for like both Halloween and Christmas, because they're kind of in more like the boring default pose. No shade to the boring default poses. They're crusty, crunchy, and cute, but we would just kind of like to make them, a little more bang for your buck. So we're working on these. We're working on kind of crusty, crunchy, and cute. Look, there's a place for them, but maybe at this price point, that place is not for them. So we're trying to kind of uppy the quality, trying to make some more unique poses for some of those more special edition pets. Because I don't know about you, but I was not a fan of Christmas pets or Halloween pets very much. But in these poses, I will be.
Yeah, I only celebrate the Valentine's colors. I'm not really a fan of anything that's not baby or Valentine's. But if it's not in the it's like if it's not in the Hidden Tower, I don't want it. But last question before you go. on the topic of NC pet styles and also the Omelette Faerie, in the Omelette Faerie, there is a baby version of Saber X. So people have been sort of asking for NC style cross paints like baby Faerie, baby Tyranian, just that kind of like cross paint vibe. Is this something that's like on your radar or maybe something you might make in the future?
On my radar, I would say it probably is in the center of my radar. Hello. Baby fairies have been on my mind for years. And then seeing obviously helping to do some of the art review for the new graphic novel, seeing baby Saber X really made me want baby Tyranian pets. Super bad. So I will say that cross paint, stuff like that are absolutely in the future. And yeah, and actually, Luna, since there are so many amazing possibilities, you think we can get some comments about which cross paints the users would like to see the most in the styling studio?
Oh,
Perhaps
yeah, circle.
leave a
Thanks for
comment. Leave
doing
a
that.
comment wherever you are. Let us know. I will be sick and I will be looking through these comments after my segment.
Someone said baby dead Chia.
Babe put his little diaper on and everything. Like, you really want to do him like that? That's messed up.
That's messed up. Well, thank you so much, TNT Faye, for being a guest. I'm again so sorry that you're sick. I hope you feel better, and thank you for making all the things that we love happen. Thank you for Junie. Thank you for everything, and hope to see you soon and feel better.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for appreciating my baby boy son. And see you guys next
Bye, TNT
time.
Faye. Guys, yeah, the AMA we did not anticipate. I guess we just didn't plan accordingly for the first segment with two guests going longer. So thank you everybody for sitting tight. We have one more segment before we bring up TNT Dom for the AMA, but really quickly, I'd love to welcome not TNT Faye, but TNT Fally, who's going to give us a little bit of info on fairy fragments before we move on. So. Oh, hello!
Hello, everyone. Australian jump scare again. I'm back. I mean, I was thinking a second ago, but like I'm in character now. As an Australian.
You were just sick without a profile picture. Oh, crazy. I'd love to talk to you about fairy fragments really quick, but before we get into anything, I love your shirt. Hello, what is that?
Hey, I'm like gonna hijack the segment as well because I was like to the stage manager before. I was like, I've got more photos, but yes, hold on, let me do it up. This is my new shirt. How do we feel about this? There's more, but like I'm too short to show everyone. But me and TNT Luna are like sporting some new. Well, you aren't. You're sporting something way more suspicious in the corner there. But I've got some new merch, and I hijacked for me to show some like quick photos before I get into my segment of some more merch. So we've got my poor partner was forced into this, but you know what? He's all for it now. So yeah, and then we've got another photo of some other merch when I got to meet our Neopets Nation and community ambassador Missy. She's wearing another design that I think people have seen on our socials, which is really cool. And yes, we're wearing our Neo hoods. We're super cool in Australia. So yeah, I'm keen for new merch. I've been waiting for this for years. This is my calling. So I'm
Absolutely
here.
love that.
I'm actually here, guys, besides all of the merch pumping that I only really care about. No, I'm here to talk about our new Faerie Fragments release. So for those who might not have seen it on our YouTube channel, we're going to play a quick Faerie Fragments trailer now, and then we're going to go into some questions, I think.
Perfect. Oh my gosh, super excited for Fairies Fragments, but I've never played before, and I will be now. But can you tell me really quickly, like, what's the narrative premise of Fairy Fragments? Like, what's the story in the gameplay?
Yeah. So for anyone who hasn't played Fairy's Hope, which was our previous release, Fairy Fragments is going to follow the same storyline or a very similar storyline. So it's going to follow the story of our beautiful light fairy Luxinia, who we are following at the moment with the Void Within. And it's going to be following her after the events of Fairy's Ruin, which was the original fairyland falling and crashing to the ground. Thank you, Xandra. So it's going to be about her. She's lost all of her memories and she's woken up and she's decided that she wants to rebuild her home. And this is going to be on that sole sort of floating island by herself after Fairyland has fallen. And the player, the Neopets who join her, are going to be able to help her rebuild and welcome new friends to join her and go on that journey with her as she discovers new things about herself and has hopefully fun doing it.
Yeah, and what is then how does the gameplay and the new visuals kind of tie into that?
I think we're going to see some visuals. Oh, they're so cute. So the main aspect of the game is going to be match 3. That means that we've replaced those puzzle tiles with baby Neopets, which I know, Luna, you'll be very happy about. We love that nostalgic touch here. We want to kind of pay homage to our longtime fans, which is ourselves, basically. But we've also made special tiles which are fairy themed to match with the Fairy Fragments, obviously the theme of the whole game. So as you progress through those levels, you're going to start unlocking things like costumes for the characters. You're going to be able to build different parts of Fairyland. There's going to be elements of customization, so it's going to feel like it's a little bit more unique to an individual player. And yeah, just hopefully make your new Fairyland come to life a little bit more.
No, yeah, I love that. Also, like the little like Neopet partners that like walk with you that you can customize. I heard customization was like, fine, I'll play. But genuinely very exciting. And I know when we launched our other mobile game, The Tales of Decardia, we had like a Neopass linkage, and Neopass itself it's starting to play a big role in our sort of brand experience, which includes Fairy Fragments. So will there be perks for Fairy Fragments too for people that choose to link Neopass?
Yeah, so first of all, you don't need Neopass to play the game, but if you do want to see those daily rewards, those achievements going to your classic site Neopets account, you are going to need to link them. So there will be exclusive Neopets like .com wearables. There will be I believe Luxinia outfit that you can get if you do link it. So while it's not mandatory, if you do want to see them crossover, you are going to link your Neopass account to them. But yeah, I'm super excited for that. Those exclusive rewards. I'm keen.
Perfect. Yeah, and if you still haven't signed up for Neopass, you don't need to link it. But as Fally said, there will be rewards. But we've heard that Fairy Fragments will be getting regular updates. So what can you share about any future content or events that the team has planned after the official launch? Since this has been anticipated for a while, ever since we sort of took down Fairy's Hope last year.
Yeah, and I know that really did upset a lot of people, myself included. People were a little bit worried if it was going to come back, but don't worry. We took it down so that we could make it better and we could work on it and we could add new things. So there's going to be, at this stage on the release, it's going to be about 800 levels, and more are going to be seen as we have new events. We're going to have new content. It's going to be ongoing. We're going to be introducing new puzzles, new storylines. There's going to be more customization options and items, and that's going to be on a more regular basis as well, just to kind of keep more content coming out, people actually wanting to come back to the game and find new things. And Neopets, you can expect to find themes pretty much, or themed events every month. So that will mean that you're going to have opportunity to participate in challenges and earn more specific event items. So even after the official launch, I love that for myself. So even after the official launch, it's going to be hopefully something new to look forward to on a pretty consistent basis.
So for those who are listening, and we've said about the official launch, but that official date is October 16th, and it's coming up. But Fally, I'm a procrastinator, and I know you keep saying like pre-register instead of like waiting for it to come out, but what's the benefit of sort of pre-registering? Because I know if I were a player, I'd be waiting like months to download it for like all the Jelly Neo guides to come out. But do we get anything to register? Like why should I not procrastinate?
No, that's a good point. Apart from the fact that if you do it now, you don't have to worry about forgetting to do it later. So, or do it tomorrow if you're in the procrastinators club, I suppose. But basically, everyone who pre-registers is going to get a really good starter pack or a bit of an advantage. But basically, the more people that pre-register, the more rewards that are going to be able to be given out to all of the players. So within the first month, we have like goals. There's different perks for the different numbers that we hit. I'm trying to think of them off the top of my head. Like 20K, 50K, 100K. Really stop procrastinating, Luna. We really need to get those rewards. And it's just going to mean that, we have that interest and we have that hype, and we hopefully have more people coming on and enjoying the game.
Oh my god, I was muted because I was coughing, and then my finger was like sweaty, and it couldn't like move to unmute the mic, which is why there was that pause there.
I'm like watching you're a liar. I'm watching you on Discord, like messaging people, trolling. And you're like, I'm so sorry, I was listening.
Oh no, true. I am actively telling people that the AMA won't end in 6 minutes. In fact, we'll probably just go a bit over because we had extra time in the waiting room today, and Dom will answer all the questions. So for those of you guys that are worried about the time, don't worry, we'll get through all the questions. And if you have plans at 6, couldn't be me. I don't have any plans at night ever. You can just catch the recording later. But thank you. Thank you so much for joining us today and sharing all of the exciting updates. I do have like a personal question to ask you, but because you've cooked up so much here at Neopets, like guys, like the shirt that TNT Falley's wearing was in part like ideated by TNT Falley. So we have like Falley to thank for like all of that. But if you could in canon create a new fairy, since we have the new Omelette fairy, and the fairy festival's just wrapping up, what fairy would you create?
This is totally not a question that I was prepared for and haven't already thought about. No, I did think about this. I originally wanted to go with a technology fairy, like from Winx, but that was Luna's idea first. She got there before me. I have no imagination, apparently. So I think I want like an underworld fairy. Like I want some Grim Reaper vibes. Like we've got dark fairies, but like where's the... I don't know, like maybe that's just wishful thinking. TNT Aesop, new plot idea. Who knows?
Yeah, TNT Aesop, please. Where... I don't want to think about what happens with Neopets.
Sorry, I'm reading Discord. Like, did you say underwear fairy? I'm like, no, I'm just Australian. Underworld.
Oh, underworld. That'd be super cool. I also saw some fan art recently on the Reddit of like a really cute pastel jelly fairy. Which I would be very excited for if Jelly World ever comes into existence. That'd be really cool. But thank you for all your time today, TNT Valley. I am just going to let you go and so we can get to the last segment. But thanks for coming.
Very always happy to be a stand-in when you don't have anyone better.
No, you're my first choice. You're my favorite coworker. We'll see you though. Bye, TNT Valley. Yes, for those of you guys that are worried, don't worry. It will just go a bit over time, but we will get to all the questions. But to get to the AMA, I would love to welcome TNT Dom for his segment where he answers all your burning questions. Hey, Dom.
Hello.
So
Can you show me the giant Shoru again? It's so cute.
Oh yeah.
Wow. Amazing.
Isn't he so cute? No, he's literally so cute. He's my emotional support giant Shoru. I'm very excited because we're rolling these out soon, but I know people were like curious since we launched them at one of the licensing expos, so everyone was like asking about them.
Yeah, well, I'd love to get one soon.
Dom, this is the Omelette Fairy sort of themed AMA. And I was just wondering, like, do you have a favorite Neopets omelet? They're the most iconic part of the game. How do you feel about omelets in general?
Well, actually, I have an interesting story. So back when I was a kid, we don't eat omelet that much at home. And when I play Neopets, I always thought, wow, people actually add all sorts of stuff to make their own omelets, and I thought that was a norm. And then it's like later, it's like they realized that, oh, actually, that's only a kind of like a Neopets thing where you can add anything random, and omelet is such a staple. But growing up, my favorite omelet is actually chorizo omelet, but it doesn't exist in Neopets. I think it doesn't exist in Neopets. But that's my favorite in real life omelet.
Okay, well, we'll get. I've never had a chorizo omelet, but we'll get that and the vegan omelet. Hopefully, requested ASAP. I saw a player recommend like an omelet flavored omelet where it's just like little omelets on the omelet, which I thought was really cool.
Well, maybe we can do that for the giant omelet. That can definitely fit all sorts of omelet in there.
No, that'd be so cool. I know. Or like at the next con, we just get catering and make like a really big omelet and hand it out. I don't know. I don't know. All things to think about. All things to think about. Um, I would love to chat with you a bit more, just because it's so rare to get a chance to like see you, just like face to face on live. I know that we text all the time, but since we are pressed for time, I'm just going to get into the AMA questions for this session. Um,
Yeah, sure.
so the players submitted their questions, and these were the most popular ones. And the first one is. Dr. Landelbrot's Void Works was announced to be updated. What is the current status of the game?
Yeah, I think it has gone live already, and then so instead of plot points, you'll be able to receive item rewards, and you can play once every 24 hours. So yeah, like enjoy it, and let us know if you have any feedback.
I know some of the feedback we had been seeing was that it resets every 24 hours, but the other things reset like every day. And that's something that, we have also brought up to the team when this question was asked. So just to give you guys an update on that. The second question is with how often rainbow fountain dips are being granted, is this a permanent change?
Yeah, don't worry. It's not going to be a permanent change. It's more often only because of the very festival drop. So it's dropping more often. So I hope you all got a chance to get one and manage to paint some of your dreamies. But that will be back to normal.
Totally, totally. Yeah, I know that we had a bunch of people who were playing who had returned and were lapsed players like for the Faerie Festival. So they were and a lot, FFQs were rare back in the day. So I think there was a bit of confusion about the quest system, but as always, that was just for the festival and things will go back to normal. Okay, number three. Can you address the shadow bans in the 2024 Altador Cup and what caused them?
Yeah, sure. So it is a system in place for us to ensure fair play and also to maintain the integrity of the competition. So in the 2024 Auditor Cup, we actually did apply this measure to around 100 users. And it was implemented midway when we identified some users are engaging in kind of like activities that are validating our terms. So in the compromise, we allowed them to continue participating in the event, but their contribution to the team performance will be excluded so that they can still engage in the game but without affecting the overall fairness of the results. So they can earn points for their reward, like their personal gameplay, but we kind of have that system in place so it doesn't negatively impact the fairness of the overall cup. So we hope that it's a win-win situation and creates less controversial kind of like top like discussion among compared to the previous shadow bans that happened. So yeah, so it's mainly for us to ensure that this is fair.
Yeah, and thank you so much for answering this question. I know that every time I popped into the Altador Cup Discord, people were asking about it, and I was like wanting to tell them, like, please just wait till the AMA. So thank you so much for that, and I hope that clears up a lot of the suspicion and confusion around the event. The next question isn't really a question; it's just a statement. But the players say, "Please fix the trading post glitch."
Yeah, so we actually identified the fix at the moment. It's not live yet, but we're looking to kind of like do some final testings, and then we can go live with it. So it should be fixed momentarily.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, I know that that's been a fix in a while, so I'm sure it'll be updated in bug releases. The next question is, will there be new pet species or colors introduced soon?
Yeah, so it's something that we've always talked about internally. We have been floating many ideas, bouncing around. We haven't introduced a new pet since 2014, so like more than 10 years ago. So we do want to do that in the future, but it's just that we still haven't confirmed. We're still bouncing ideas internally. So I mean, do let the ideas keep coming and let us know what you'd like to see, and then we'll continue to monitor that, and then hopefully we can get that into works soon.
Yeah, for any players who are watching this and like want to submit suggestions, TNT Adler has a monthly board on side events for pet day suggestions, but you can post, your ideas there, right into the editorial. A lot of the staff is on like Reddit, so you can share them wherever. Um, I don't know what new species I would want. I think I'm very content with just Aishas, but still really cool that it could be a possibility. Um, then the next question that players are asking is, will more daily freebies like Trudy Surprise be added in the future?
So who doesn't like more freebies, right? So what we're planning to do with Trudy Surprise, we have been and will continue to update the prize pool every few months. But instead of having a new Trudy Surprise, we have been introducing things like daily quests that adds more kind of like freebies into the system. And for the upcoming birthday and advent calendar, we'll definitely have more kind of like prize related features. So stay tuned. So definitely more and more prizes for everyone.
hmm hmm and then the next question is actually about the Battle Dome. So the question is, when can we expect a Battle Dome update or new features in the Battle Dome to be introduced?
Uh, so the current next steps for Battle Dome, we're focusing on fixing the bugs and improving the overall user experience. So that would be the major kind of like focus in the short run. And then for doing like new feature updates or like big updates to Battle Dome, it will be a much bigger project, I would say, and it will definitely cost us probably like multiple sprints in order to just do the research and really plan for that. So that would probably happen definitely not this year. Maybe something that we can take on later next year. But in the
Hmm
meantime, we have been receiving a lot of like feedbacks and kind of like suggestions on how like what new features we can build to make Battle Dome exciting, even more exciting again. So please feel free to continue to let us know your thoughts and give us your suggestions. We have been collecting those through our community ambassadors, but also like internal team to really get the design going. But it's going to be a long-term project for those updates to take place.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of updates, the next question is kind of related. It says, the site is slow and often lags. Are there any improvements planned for the overall site performance?
Yeah, so we actually have been doing quite a lot in the back end to tackle this issue, and it's actually a top priority for us to improve the site performance. So compared to a year ago, the average load time has significantly gone down. So the average load time for across the whole site is now at 2.6 seconds. So it's actually in par with most other websites, but there's definitely a lot more room to improve because we understand that like the longer it loads, definitely the experience is pretty bad. And but there are certain pages that the load time on average is much higher. For example, the infantry page is definitely our top page that we need to tackle. It actually like users and players are experience definitely much longer load time on those pages more often than not. And for these pages, we actually have to look into each of them individually and to optimize the UX UI, to optimize the way we write our JavaScript, or even like if it's like related to our database calls and stuff like that. So improving the oversight performance wise, we have been improving kind of like the infrastructure, adding more disk spaces. Um, and then from a more kind of like an overall improvement, we are planning to have auto scaling and auto balancing of our servers in
Mhm.
place. Now it's actually done manually. The team has been predicting kind of like when traffic would surge, when we have events, and then to increase like our disk spaces on the server side. So those things, it's still very manual, but we have plans to kind of like introduce kind of like a basic like auto scaling to tackle that. But for some of the pages like infantry, as I mentioned, those are kind of like we have to tackle each page on a, like page by page to fix it. So that's kind of the it's already in the works, and we'll continue to do that. But some of these page fixes would take little bit more time because each page will need to first do some research to make sure to optimize and whether we need to update the design, and then that like if there's dev works related, then we have to go through kind of like the development sprint to make sure we implemented upgrades once and for all. And on the more other more infrastructure type of upgrade that's related to speed. So we actually have been migrating our payment service from an outsourced party to in-house. And then so anything that's related payment, we have like much lower call latency now, and also much improved security. So that should be in effect already. So that should be a big part of kind of like our site. And also, we have been talking about the purge that we're doing. So we have been doing some purge that are not related to users and pet accounts, but more like the database that we have on the gaming database inventory side of things. There are other growing tables that are routinely being purged so that we can improve the server speed and kind of like reduce the number of calls in between the messy data tables that we have. And then so there are a lot of these things that are happening in the background, and we hopefully to continue to bring down the average load time to even lower to below like 2 seconds, for example. But that's definitely a major KPI within the team, and the infrastructure team has been working on a lot of these fixes.
Yeah, I know that sometimes, people just say like the site lags and there's not like a lot of specifics, but thank you for sharing like all the insight into things that will improve the site overall. And I hope the players can sort of notice that difference once they're implemented. The next question is, will there be more customization options for pets, like new clothing and accessories?
Yeah, I think I mean, kudos to our art team. We've been creating like some really cool new ideas. For example, like the recent like full body suits and outfits. I mean, I love the chicken nugget chicken nugget outfit. So things like that we're definitely planning to play more with, and going like the team is always being more like putting in more creative with these outfit designs. And then also like similar to what we've released with the companion foregrounds, we're also looking at like some of the rezoning of some of the items to make more of our items and customization friendlier for all the pets. So it's definitely something that we've been working on and will continue to improve.
Mhm. Totally. Yeah, I know that the players always ask for like they're like if layering was possible, or like asking things to rezone, and we see a lot of your comments. And I've been taking that into account to make more of the items accessible, and also we're working on the conversion for the items that were not converted to HTML5. I also love the chicken nugget grarl, and the Spirited Away Drake was really cool, which was incredible. And then the last question that the players have is, can you explain the recent price changes for NC Mall items and paintbrushes?
Yeah, sure. So I think this is a broader question about kind of like how we're revamping our NC Mall, and also like how we've been structuring our team. We kind of talked about this in one of our previous AMAs, but basically one of the strategy for Neopets is that we definitely want to embrace creativity and make sure that our art assets and our artistic creative team is at a better level compared to in the past few years where we have been outsourcing a lot of our artwork. And then to be honest, I think the art quality has gone down compared to what Neopet should be. And so instead of outsourcing, we actually have been hiring a lot more artists in US and Canada in the past year to produce better art content, not just for the NC malls, but also for other items in general. And then we do see that there are some kind of like complaints here and there about some of our artwork, and we understand that some art is still being done by our outsourcing team. But the goal is to continue to insource more instead of outsourcing, so that we should be seeing a overall improvement in our art quality across the board, and that's kind of the result that we want to drive at. And on the other hand, because of that kind of overall broader strategy of improving our art quality, we actually need to improve our support to supporting our in-house artists. So we haven't changed our pricing in probably in the past 10 years, or maybe 5 or 6 years. I think the NC pricing has always been the same. So this and kind of like the tiered items and pricing change is mainly to reflect on the amount of effort that our team is actually spending on these items, and also to kind of like just overall make it make us able to cover the cost of kind of like this broader strategy of moving our team in-house instead of outsourcing. And then we're also still hiring more artists. So if you're interested to join our team, feel free to reach out. We definitely have more plans to kind of like completely, well, I won't say completely, but definitely do more insourcing versus outsourcing. The current mix, when we took over around a year ago, outsourcing is probably 80% of our work. Now I think we've brought down outsourcing to like less than like 30-40%. I think there's still room for us to insource more.
Awesome. Well, I had no idea that we were we're still hiring artists. Is this perhaps, I swear I didn't plan this question. Is this something that people would follow us on LinkedIn for? What would be like, where should people look?
Yeah, so we actually have been hiring from the community. I'm not sure if it's from LinkedIn or from what sources, but I think we should definitely post on LinkedIn, and I think LinkedIn would normally be the best way to get connected with our HR team.
Perfect. Yeah, I'm super excited. If I had even an ounce of drawing ability in my body, I would be applying. But unfortunately, I don't. Those are all the questions that we had for you this session, Dom. So thank you so much for coming.
No, thanks for having me.
Bye, Dom. Thank you guys so much for sticking around if you did. Sorry again that this AMA went a little bit over, but for those of you that are still here, we will now share the code that you can redeem at Grundo's Warehouse. This one isn't as predictable as the last one, so hopefully people didn't catch on. But this is the code, and we will catch you next live. Thank you so much for watching.